It is now clear the North Rhine-Westphalian Prime Minister will be the new chairman of the Christian Democrats. But what is he actually up to? The new CDU leader has achieved a lot as the Prince of North Rhine-Westphalia, but in the federal government his plan is of little value to the economy if the party doesn't dare to change course. His teammate Jens Spahn, of all people, came up with the expensive idea. North Rhine-Westphalia's Prime Minister Armin Laschet is the new chairman of the CDU. The 59-year-old who has ruled the most populous state since 2017 is expected to lead the party into the post-Merkel era. At his side is Federal Health Minister Jens Spahn, with whom Laschet competed as a team against competitors Friedrich Merz and Norbert Röttgen. One wants to preserve Merkel's legacy but become more modern, is the motto with which Laschet convinced the CDU delegates. What his choice means for the German economy, which has been shaken by the crisis, cannot only be read in his 10-point paper with the title Impulse 2021, which he recently presented together with Spahn. The decisions that Laschet and his black-yellow coalition are responsible for in North Rhine-Westphalia are even more revealing. Black-yellow coalition, that's what we say in Germany. That means conservative Lib Dem coalition of CDU and FDP. They show that Aachen's economic prosperity and social balance always go hand in hand, and with this course it's more reminiscent of Helmut Kohl's chancellorship than Angela Merkel's. In fact, Laschet has a good reputation in the medium-sized economy in North Rhine-Westphalia. This applies in the Ruhrpott, which is plagued by structural change, as well as in the prosperous regions in Münsterland, right here, or in East Westphalia. The fact that his black-yellow coalition, which only governs with a majority of one vote, works noiselessly is not least due to the fact that the CDU man grants the FDP presentable successes in economic matters. With the Ministry for Economy, Innovation, Digitization and Energy, the Liberals are responsible for a super department that has set accents in the important future areas of climate policy and digitization, which Laschet is now highlighting as groundbreaking for all of Germany. The 59-year-old has involved his opponent Jens Spahn, who is to become his deputy in the race for party leadership. Shortly before the party congress, they jointly presented a 10-point program for an innovative and livable Germany that contains the first clues for the duo's economic agenda. One thing is clear, they do not want to break with the Merkel era. But let's go through some topics there. First, it's taxes. When the three candidates sat across from each other in this discussion round to advertise themselves via web stream, when asked how they were doing with taxes, Laschet said, "Before the pandemic, we learned that the state would raise taxes every year without tax increases, and that's possible because the economy is doing well. People are in employment and many are paying in." After the crisis, he wants to build on that. It will be about creating growth to repay the debt that is now arising. He wants to bring the budget back into balance after the corona crisis. He wants back to the black zero, that's what we call it all the time, as soon as that is economically justifiable. However, he thinks a rising European price for CO2 emissions makes sense. It could be an incentive to modernize. He also announced that more families should have the chance to build real estate property. The more families are able to build property, the better it is for our society, he's sure. And on the labor market, Laschet wants to expand the care office for children so that families and work can be better reconciled. He also promotes equal pay for equal work, regardless of gender. This should also have a positive effect on retirement benefits. For today's generation, it is important that they have an independent income and, as a result, an independent pension. Your own career path essentially determines how your income will be in old age. That is why a better work-life balance is the key to making progress on this point too, for both men and women. And on social policy, he says, in view of the upheavals caused by the corona crisis, Laschet has declared education to be a social question. Not all children could study equally at home. Every day without real face-to-face teaching causes damage. Therefore, there should be as much face-to-face teaching as possible. Children should always know that performance is worthwhile. That is why I will focus on education policy and campaign for good schools and universities nationwide, more and better opportunities for professional development and lifelong learning, announced Laschet. Above all, we must finally use the opportunities of digitization in the education sector. Next topic is innovation. Laschet calls for a real change in mentality, more freedom for innovation and economic creativity. He wants to promote venture capital more and free founders from bureaucratic burdens for a year. And everyone in the UK at the moment who is a trader knows what bureaucracy means. He also relies on a digital ministry to bundle all competences. There must be no dead spots on the Autobahn, he says. The federal and state government must also get better at digital education. He also wants to adjust data protection so that more big data deals are possible. Otherwise, only data would be obtained in this country and the added value takes place elsewhere. Then we have the topic of environment. We want to do everything we can to achieve the climate goals, says Laschet, making it clear that the energy-intensive companies also need energy at all times, not just when the wind is blowing or the sun is shining. That is why it is important that we have a good gas supply and that we make progress with renewable energies, especially offshore on the high seas. It is also important to be able to store energy better. If we can do that, then we'll be a role model. If we don't manage it, we will damage our industrial substance. For this reason, many new ideas for the energy of the future are necessary. We need an answer for the baseload. Laschet also relies on the new forms of propulsion for the automobiles in the transport sector, from synthetic fuels to electric drives and hydrogen. Green hydrogen is a gigantic future project for energy-intensive industry, Laschet predicts. We'd make a quantum leap if we managed to do it. On top of that, he wants to make houses climate-friendly with a government investment program. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.